Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Who has ever heard of somebody who went to study medicine because that's what their parents wanted them to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those.
So if you had the choice between two doctors, one of them who chose to study medicine because that's what their mother wanted them to do, or one that did it because they really wanted to do it to help people out, would you choose the guy who did it to help people out, the guy who did it because he wanted to?
That's why they have a psychology test.
So this is an interesting thing, right? We learn all these sorts of things at school, and we have these expectations, and then we go out and learn something. And so we do it, and we do it hard. We get out there, we look at these things which we don't necessarily want to do. I mean, this is from my personal experience. So I started out at high school. I was good at chemistry. I was good at mathematics, and I was good at music. And I was kind of mediocre at the rest. I think the main thing was that I just didn't have an interest. Like the teachers that I had didn't pick an interest in it for me. So I didn't really know what some of these things were about. And so when I got out, in university, people think go out and you study because that's what you do. I mean, that's the way to get ahead in life. We get given this when we're at school. And so I decided that I was going to go out and do mechanical engineering. Why? Well, I still ask myself that question sometimes. But I figured that I was good at mathematics. And that doing mechanical engineering would get me a good job. So off I went, I studied, I worked hard, I got through a few exams. I worked hard up to those exams to remember as much as I could, and I passed, and I probably forgot them. And so, coming up to my final year, I'm out there and I'm looking for a job, and I find myself a full-time job using my skills as an engineer. And a couple of years later, I absolutely hate it. And so here I am in a job that I don't want to do, and I've got this decision to make. Am I going to keep doing this for the money, enjoy spending it, enjoy the weekends, or am I going to give it away and go do something completely different? And at that point I chose to go and do something completely different. It was a tough decision, and I did get a lot of criticism for it. But I'm around these people. I'm around all these other people. And some of those people actually like what they're doing. And these people work hard, only they're not really working hard. Because they enjoy it, they just get on and do it. They're more productive than me. They don't mind working the long hours. And they're having a bit of fun. So overall, they're on this upward path, you know. They're continually getting better and better. And here I am, not enjoying myself and just treading water. So it took me a long time to get out of this. I'd just like to share with you 3 things that I did to change from that to going back and studying again and being great at it. So one of these things I've already covered a little bit, which is finding meaning. So let's go back to those doctors. And you think about those doctors, they're at university, and one of them is there because that's what their mother wanted them to do. And there's another person. Doctors, I mean, being a doctor, how easy is it to find meaning in that? I mean, maybe you want to help people to overcome a particular disease. Maybe you want to help people get their sight back. Maybe you want to help people walk again. So you think about this person learning about all the little bits and pieces in somebody's leg, and you want to help people to walk again. Is that meaningful? Imagine you've just got this big list of all these things with no meaning at all. You're trying to remember all these things, all these bits of this leg. What are you going to do with that? You're going to just sit there and remember it. We get told at school this whole idea of read, write, recite. Remember, we've all been through that. And yes, that is a way to learn. But can you learn things by doing them once and learn them permanently? So it's a Sunday afternoon. I'm about to take my kids out to play with some of their other friends. And we are preparing a bit of a snack. The kids may be a bit tired, maybe a little bit excited. Let's just say they're a little bit antisocial. They're running around making lots of noise, and as they bring that into the kitchen while I'm cutting up carrots, I'm distracted for just a moment and I cut the end of my little finger off. I sliced it right off. So tell me, do I have to go back to the kitchen and slice off my next finger and my next finger and my next finger before I can actually remember what I did and to do it differently? It's a silly question, right? Of course, this is an extreme example, but it does make the point that if you have a big enough reason, that you will remember it first time and learn it forever. So how does this relate back to public speaking? I mean, here we all are. We're all here to improve our speaking. We're all here to improve our leadership. Let's think about why we all want to be here. So let's say you want to be a better leader. Let's say you want to improve your speaking. Let's say you want to improve your confidence. If you're looking at these things, this is read, write, recite. These are good things that you will get out of it. But what is your real meaning behind coming here? We heard about Jane this morning. She's got a good reason to be here. She's got a good reason to push herself to become a better speaker, to become more confident, to become a better leader, because she wants to help people. She wants to help people through her business. So I encourage all of you to think about what it is that you want to get from Toastmasters, and then think about how the things that you do here are going to help you to get to that goal. But this is the thing that drives people. This is the thing that when you do it, and you do it for a purpose, you learn it, and you learn it quickly. So I'm going to move on to another part of the speech, which is about taking action. So we all think about things. We all plan things, and at some point there's a time where you've got to forget about the planning and take some action. Now, if you're building a bridge, you might want to check it again. But once you've checked it again, there's a time still where you have to start the journey to building that bridge. And for us here, what is the risk? No one's going to die. No one's going to hurt themselves. And the quickest way you can permanently learn something is by doing it. So, education has come a really long way. I mean, we started off with education being the basic apprenticeship. So you have the blacksmith, for example, and the young blacksmith comes along, and the senior blacksmith hands him some metal, a hammer, shows him to the anvil, and he bashes that metal into shape. Or they take some seeds, go and plough the fields, water them, tend to the crop, take the harvest. So here is a learning way which is almost entirely based on doing it. There's a little bit of seeing what's done, and there's a very small amount of telling. So where are we now? Education has become lots of telling, a little bit of showing, and not much doing. So these guys, Lombardo and Ischinger, did a study, and they found that 70% of learning comes from experience and problem solving. 20% comes from relationships in the form of communication and feedback from other people. And 10% comes from training and reading books. So you might think that I'm saying, well, maybe education's got it wrong. I don't think that's the case. But what I do think is that this gives people the opportunity to make something better of it, to take that knowledge and do things to improve the way that you learn things and to improve the way that you retain that knowledge in order to make yourself more valuable. I mean, people can come out of school, people can come out of university with a degree. How much of that do you actually know? So this is the thing. If you've done the university degree, have you retained it? And I mean, this is where a lot of the education, people come out of university, and that's when their apprenticeship, so to speak, starts, when they get out into the workplace and start applying some of those things, start applying those knowledge, and then branching off into something that is much more specialised. So here's an opportunity for you to become more valuable than the other people that you work with or the other people that you associate with. If you want to be good at something, find someone else who is already good at it and ask them if you can help them. So I've done this many times, and the great thing about it is that most people are so excited about it. They actually will be so flattered that you're actually interested in what they're doing because it's something that they are passionate about, that they have worked hard to do a great job at, and you get the added benefit that you actually get a chance to do it. And when you do it, you'll remember it. Sometimes referred to as wisdom, having done it. So the third thing that I'm going to talk about is to stop worrying. Stop worrying about what the outcome is. Who talks to themselves?
Yep.
Some people are saying to themselves, what is he, crazy? I'm not going to admit to that. Some years ago, I found myself in yet another job that I hated. It had been near on a year, and I was really frustrated, I was really angry, and I had all this stuff going on in my head that was just making things worse. I was worrying about the outcome that I was going to have here. I had a new mortgage, I had a baby, I was the only breadwinner, and I just felt really trapped. I've been working maybe 12 to 16 hours a day, often 7 days a week, getting called out in the middle of the night, and I really had enough. And I got to the point one day after I'd worked about 4 weeks straight, that I'd totally had enough. And I had this moment of absolute freedom where I just didn't care what the outcome was going to be. If I got fired on that day, I would have walked out there happy. And I did something that I'm not really proud of now, but I gave my boss feedback. It was some pretty harsh criticism. And so what happened? Here's me thinking, how am I going to pay my mortgage? What about my baby crying because I can't put food on the table? What happened? Nothing. Actually, better than nothing. Something did actually happen.
Gave you a rise.
What happened was that the calls in the middle of the night almost stopped. They put on someone else to take care of a lot of the work that I was doing. And I started taking a few days off during the week to make up for some of the weekends that I've been working. So I felt this bit of freedom, and I realised at that time that the things that we worry about, they haven't even happened. I mean, they're things that haven't happened. And how do you know until you get there? So what is the point of worrying about it? I made myself sick over this. And so what about during a speech? Who said to himself something like, oh, I've lost it. I've lost my spot. Or, I've got no idea where I'm up to. If you can do it at home, to the wall, or whatever it is, you can do it. You can find your place anytime you lose it. We all make mistakes, it's okay. But the mistake that we made does not determine any mistakes that we will make. Right now is a fresh moment. It's a fresh moment to start again. Pick it up and move on. It's the worry that gets in our way. What are people going to think? Oh, we can't get back on track. It's not true. It is worry. It is something that is simply not true, and you can move on and you can do it. I know you all can. So do your worrying before you take action. And when you step up here to the lectern, just relax, have some fun, and do it. So finding meaning, taking action, and don't worry. There are a lot more things that I wrote about in my book. These are some of them. And I wanted to share these with you today because these are ones that have particular meaning to me at this point in my life. I've been fortunate for the last 9 years to be in a job which has challenged me, a job that I've learned a lot from, and a job that has taken me to so many interesting places and seeing so many interesting things. But over the last couple of years, the challenge has been dwindling, basically. And so I've decided that it's time for me to challenge myself. I have resigned from my job, and I'm going to take 3 months out to work on something which I've wanted to do for a long time, which is to start a bit of a business of my own. So what I plan to do is to work with people to work out what it is they really want so that they can be great at it. I think that this country is a fantastic country. We've got the potential to be such great innovators. We just need people who are willing to do the thing that they really want to do because that's what they're going to be the best at. That's what they're going to be great at. I know it sounds a bit like follow your passion, but do the thing that really interests you because that's the only thing that you can really be truly great at. So I know it's going to be hard work and I'm a bit scared about it really. But I've been thinking about this for business and now is the time for me to take some action. So that's what I'm going to do. Done my worrying. And I know that whatever the outcome is going to be, I'll still put food on the table and I'll be okay. So Toastmasters and guests, find meaning, take action, and don't worry. And I want to leave you with a quote by a guy called Wayne Gretzky. He's an ice hockey coach. And he said, 100% of the shots you don't take, don't go in. It's a Toastmaster.
That's an interesting concept. 100% of the shots that you don't take go in. I must remember that for future times. So if you don't try, you don't get there. Mr. Timekeeper, could we have the lights off, please? Thank you. Now the next speaker tonight is probably the most important person here.